Well, my headline for my presentation was creepy but kind of awesome,
Okay.
which is kind of like the general view of how the future is heading. And I think Dubai has the same, and now I mean creepy in the best possible way that I can pronounce it. But awesome, of course, it's grand, it's vast, it's fast-paced, there's all the new things, but as a human, you also need to have that emotion that I can actually be a part of it, that I can actually control it. And I think Dubai is moving so fast that maybe it becomes a little bit creepy. So you need to also sometimes have this ability to settle down, to feel what it is that you're feeling and to connect with other people, which is what the future is very much about, that you should have the connection and you should have this fast-paced coming. It's a good melting pot, so I'm enjoying it. I'm talking about moments of magic because I think that we need some simplicity in the way that we live our lives, that we shouldn't have a long manual. And I totally and honestly believe from the bottom of my heart that leadership in the future, whether or not it's an organization or it's in your own life, is leadership by moments of magic. Moments of magic is that, that sensation you have when you're connecting with somebody, or that you're feeling that this is the reason why I was born. And if you ask a nurse, they will say that's the reason why I go to work. Maybe they have them twice per year. I say, why not have them each and every day? And for me, it was meeting you, Tariq. I'm sorry to say that I really felt that we have a connection through time and space, and just becoming instant friends. And that's this feeling that you can't learn this. You can't educate people to have that. But I think we all have it, and I think it's good to move it forward and saying that when it's there, magic.
Magic will be reciprocated completely. In Mad Talks, we focus on millennials, and they are the future, and we've identified today several times that they are the future. As a futurist, what is your prognosis? What impact do they have, and how do you see? You have 4 young children.
Yes, I do. I have 4 boys. It's oh my God. I think that as a futurist, it's very important that you can speak in front of that audience, and they should not be looking like they should be, excited. They should kind of like my proof of concept to still be vibrant as a futurist is to connect to that audience. And I see them as a group of people who are searching. I see them as a very spiritual way, human beings that are very, very spiritual. I think we are human doings. We need to do stuff before we feel okay. And I think that they are just natural human beings. Like many kids are turning into vegetarian. My 6-year-old is a vegetarian. It's kind of like just his thing. I think that they're very connected to the world. They're very empathetic, and that's also why you see that they have struggling with problems like autism or ADHD. And I think that instead of treating that as a disease, we should actually see it as a heart trend. It's a condition for the future, that they need to be in a world where it's okay to be a human being, not a human doing. So I think that we should respect it, and I think it would be really wise for old people like you and I and everybody else listening in to say that, okay, let's just leave the room and let them kind of like just handle the steering wheel. Let's see where it can take us, because it's going to take us in some surprising fashions. If I might add, sometimes, working as a futurist and meeting all these wonderful people and being here in Dubai, sometimes when I come home and I'm thinking, maybe we're the lost cause. Maybe it's up to the children. Maybe the sole purpose of our generation is to be good parents. Maybe we don't have children of our own, but then we can still pour the way. So maybe we're just there to make it possible for them to change the world for the better. I think it's going to have a huge impact, and I think it's going to be both good and bad. And I think that we should also sometimes maybe look at why are these old corporations so rigid? Why are we struggling with politics that seems to always lag behind what's going on in the world? And then we think that everybody should be for him or herself, should be an entrepreneur, should be this fire soul, go out and create something. But I think there's a value in being rigid and being a traditionalist and being slow of movement sometimes, because if we didn't have that, I'm a biologist by education, and if we didn't have people who slowed us down, we would all be dead, and we wouldn't have had social structures because we didn't have time enough before it changed. So I think that we should have both, and I think that I could totally imagine a future where we don't have huge organizations anymore. We don't have these huge companies with buildings and paychecks and offices, but we have professional, dedicated communities of people working together, but they don't need to have a sole person to work for. They can work in a number of different ways. And I think that it's actually something that's accessible for most people. I don't just think that it's you and me that are kind of well off, and sometimes I, at least because I'm coming from Denmark, and we forget that the world is not, a Danish welfare state. There are people who are really worse off. But I think that we are going to, if we take it in the wrong way, I think that we can grasp all these people, and by being entrepreneurs of soul and connecting in the same way and honoring the conservatism of the way people are, I think we can totally create a better world. I'm in it. I want to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
When will you win that? What
Before
date?
Before I die. So maybe I'm planning on being maybe 70, 75 years old. And I think the world is a computer game. I think that the universe is there and it's perfect, and then it puts on Earth, and it's like a computer game. So before you get born, you know everything. And then you get born, and then you don't know anything. And then your purpose of your life is kind of go through different levels and crack the codes and challenge the gorilla and collect points, and then you get to the next level and the next level and the next level. So I'm not afraid of dying. I'm more afraid of not having, gone through enough levels for me to becoming this, like spiritual person that I think that we all are. So my greatest imaginable goal is to win the Nobel Peace Prize.